Okay, you got my screen. So we're going to jump into today the $50 million homepage, the 5 CEO shifts that fire up AI integrated sales and marketing by Q1 2025. I am really excited to have you guys here, and let's just jump right into it. I'm going to be real with you. This is like a gloves off. Let's just be clear about what's going on right now. The world has changed. What we're going to experience today is going to require an open mind. And I hope that you've come today to work on your business. And for that, I honor you guys. You may want to take notes. I'm going to go super fast because I've already lost 6 or 7 minutes here because I had to reboot my computer. I only do these master classes once a month. So I'm really delighted that you guys are here because often there's a blind spot on how you see your website versus how your prospects actually see your website. As illustrated here, the world has changed. There's AI avatars running YouTube channels. There's podcasts being run by AI. AI has shifted the game, as I'm sure you know. But AI aside, your marketing likely has a fatal flaw, and we're going to be talking about that today because AI doesn't know your story and AI can't tell it unless you teach it. But how? How do you teach AI your story? This is what we're going to be talking about today. So let me just check into you. First of all, can you hear me? Can you see my screen? Give me a heart or a thumbs up if you do. Give me something in the chat. Give me a number 1 in the chat if you can see me okay. Yeah, awesome. So if you're positioned the wrong way, your AI integrated marketing will fail. We're going to talk about integrating AI into your sales and marketing today. But first, we really need to do a deep dive into what you're saying in your marketing, what your positioning is, and what you'd be training the AIs to say. Because if you don't do that, then everything is going to fail. Because if your existing marketing is talking about a solution that you're selling that's confusing people with solutions that are nothing like it, that's a problem. That's the kind of headache that CEOs and founders have. So we're going to dive into this $50 million homepage, the 5 shifts that fire up AI integrated sales. So marketing is a money pit. It has been, but that's really because it's being done wrong. And it's certainly not being done with AI and being done with AI correctly. There's a way in 2025 to bring your copywriting costs to zero. And when I mean copywriting, I mean excellent on-brand copywriting. We're going to be talking about this. And there's a way in 2025 that everybody on your team can be using a custom private GPT that's trained on your story and producing amazing content. And we're going to be talking about that way today. If you're spending money on ads, it's not profitable. And that's because what you're showing to them when they get there isn't resonating. We're going to be looking at how you could take $3,000 worth of billable marketing work and how that can be reduced to $3 of AI credits with a pre-trained AI API in 20 minutes. All that is possible, getting you and your team using AI in the right way so that you can grow like wildflowers. The gap is widening. I think it's called like a K economy, K-shaped economy, where the businesses that are integrating AI in many different ways are the ones that are winning, and the ones that aren't are not going to be around much longer. I like to say that by 2026, there are going to be 2 kinds of businesses: those using AI and integrating it well in their businesses, and those that are out of business. So I'm Greg Rosner. This is a workshop I do once a month, and we're an AI integrated sales and marketing agency. And why are we this? So that you can be too. And it comes down to making sure that your message, your marketing, and your story is your strategy. And this is why AI will fail unless you train it on the right story. So we're going to spend a lot of time on this. It's so important in the 5 shifts. So I want to honor you for taking time to work on your business in this masterclass today. And just give me a 1 in the chat here. Have you been a little disappointed by the marketing you're getting out of your marketer? Just give me a 1 in the chat if that's the case. Malik, we got a 1 there. Cynthia, Flo, John, yes. So give me another one in the chat there. Have you been disappointed by the marketing you're getting out of ChatGPT? I mean, be honest. It's okay. I mean, we love AI here. We love it, but be honest. Give me a one in the chat if you've been disappointed. And we're going to be talking about why that is and what you need to do to turn that around. Because untrained AI will just make you blend in your industry. And, guess what? The hint here is you need to stand out in your industry. When you think about AI, there's the GPT layer at the bottom, but then there's the custom GPTs in the middle that you can make. And then there's the chats you're making with the custom GPTs on top that has memories. And we're going to be diving into what that means for you and for your business in this masterclass. It's not about the prompt. It's about the training and the framing that's so important. It takes hard work to do that, actually, but once you're there, amazing things are going to happen. So let me ask you a question. Type in the chat, what's more important in your marketing? Actually, what's more important? Forget about your marketing. Is it your product being perfect, being awesome? And by the way, that's important. Or is it your message, which is also important? What is more important? Type in the chat. We got Cynthia, message, Subash, message. Yes. EAMC, product. So a great product is critical, but I would say, and I would agree with most, is the message is more important. Because what do you think is really standing in the way between your innovation, your amazing solution, and all your ideal prospects becoming customers? Type in the chat, what do you think is in the way? And while you do that, I'm going to put out the offer here we're going to give out at the end to book a session. So that's there on the screen. But type in the chat, what is standing in the way between your innovation and all your ideal prospects becoming customers? I believe what stands in the way is a really clear message. And that's more important, your brand message. So I would encourage you to stop tolerating being embarrassed by your website. Your website is your best sales presentation. And if you're training GPT on your current website, your website doesn't, your homepage, I should say, is not a $50 million homepage, meaning it doesn't really capture the story and communicate who you're selling to, why they should care, what problem it solves, what your solution does, what they should do in 9 seconds. It's not going to be that $50 million website. So I like to say you're not years away from dominating your industry. You're just a narrative shift away. And that shift needs to train the AI. So these 5 shifts that we're going to be talking about today, the 5th shift will only work once you've made the first 4 shifts. And we're going to cover all 5 in this masterclass. You're going to get them. And I want you to have some fundamental shifts in your thinking so that you can be successful in using AI. I've had the privilege of working with some amazing CEOs that are bringing innovations to their market, and they're all using AI integrated into their business. This is a business, the CEO of this business we recently worked with, and aware.com. This is a publicly traded company, and they have integrated their marketing, their AI into marketing and sales in an amazing way. And they've trained the AI that they've built to help marketing, reducing their marketing spend and sales manual effort spend by tons of dollars. I don't know what the money is there. But let me tell you what these CEOs do not have in common that we've worked with. None of them have a boring story to tell. None of them are embarrassed by their website. None of them are wasting money on marketing. And none of them are paying team members to do things that can be automated right now. And none of them have an integrated AI into their sales and marketing. All right, so let's talk about the ground rules. This is not for spectators. If you're here today, let me just call out some names. We've got Paul, Sridhar, Jamie, Karen, Subash, Chris, Flo, John, Maeve, Michael, Heather. This is for participants. I want you to participate here for clarity in the chat so we can chat together. So it's okay to do other stuff, but I want you to come back with me and chat and answer the questions we're talking about, because that's how you're going to have breakthrough. 2, I'm going to challenge you to have those breakthroughs. And if you have them with me in this next 45 minutes, you will not be able to look at your homepage or speak your sales message the same again. It's that fundamental. There will not be a replay. This is a live conversation. I love to have with you. That's why I have these master classes. They're going to be giveaways for you for taking the time to have these breakthroughs. One, we're going to give away the 16-part magnetic messaging framework. It's a PDF, and piece by piece takes you through what that $50 million homepage needs to look like from a storytelling perspective, from the building blocks of buy-in that your customers need to see when they come to your homepage, the 12 sales conversations that need to happen to close a 100K or more deal. And if you miss one of these conversations, you will likely not close the deal. The last, actually, there's 4 things. We're going to give out a free GPT homepage messaging evaluator. It's a link, URL that you could use for free using the OpenAI GPT to analyze your website against your top competitors and give you very specific changes that you need to make. And they're pretty good. It's been trained on the magnetic messaging framework that this document here is, this PDF. So this magnetic messaging framework shows you all the elements that need to be on that $50 million homepage. And I use that sort of as a way of speaking, a homepage that has the capability of earning $50 million. And so it takes you through all the pieces, all the sections that need to be there, that answers questions that people have in their mind when they hear about you and hear about your innovation. And you want to get them to a point to make a decision to subscribe or to buy or to book a meeting. So Storycraft for Disruptors. I wrote this book in October. It's published. It's not bestseller yet, but with your help, maybe it will be. You can pick it up on Amazon. I'm going to give you a free copy of the PDF of this. If you guys stay to the end, you'll get that. So I will not pitch you. This is no pitching fest here. There's no pitching at all. But at the end, I say, but I will be offering 5 CEOs an opportunity to book a free 45-minute AI integrated sales and marketing enablement session. Over the next week, I've cleared out some time in my calendar to have these sessions with you if you are a fit. So my question to you guys, does that sound fair? Give me a, I don't know, a 1 in the chat if that sounds fair to you. We got a 1 from Heather, from John, Cynthia, Malik. Does that sound fair? I use the F word as learned by Christopher Voss. He's a guru of mine who wrote the book, Never Split the Difference. Love that book, highly recommend. Rebecca, give me a 1 in the chat if that sounds fair. So type in the chat here, who is your ideal customer? Let's put our virtual arms around them. Let's give them a big hug. Type in the chat, who is your ideal customer? Because how well you understand your customer is your biggest competitive differentiator in sales and in marketing and in your ability to train your GPT, to train your AI. So type that in the chat. It's really important. So May, talent, execs, agents. Paul, multi-family property manager. Michael, 45 to 75. I don't know what that means. Cool. Brian, company with 1,500 employees. Any kind of company? Could it be a McDonald's? Oh, no, not a McDonald's. So listen, let's be clear. Who is your ideal customer? It's likely if you're here, you are either selling an innovation or revolutionizing something. If that's true, give me a 1 in the chat. If that's true, we got a 1 from Charles. 1. Okay. So I've got a little bit of bad news for you. The bad news is says who? Is it you? Are you the one that's saying that you've got an innovation? And do you really have the right to say what you're selling is an innovation? Just yes or no in the chat. Type in yes or no. Do you have the right to say that? And yes, I would say you have the right to say anything you want, but it isn't effective. It isn't effective, and that's a shift that we're going to talk about. So look at this website here. This company here, they said that they believe they have the right to say they have courage, they have accountability, they have compassion, they have excellence. Do we as a customer, as a prospective customer, do we have any reason to believe this? Yes or no on the chat. Do we have any reason to believe this? So we are not in a position to say, yeah, their mom believes it, but says who? So this is one of the fundamental problems we're going to be talking about today in these shifts, because this is the wall of innovations. Innovations are everywhere, but it's not enough. The good news is the world needs your solution. Your customers desperately need them, and your products and services are making their lives and their customers' lives better, and the world a better place. We're going to be talking about linking those two. So listen, who am I? I'm Greg Rosner, the CEO of PitchKitchen, an AI integrated sales and marketing agency. I have personally and with my team custom trained about 95 AI GPTs for public and private companies, eliminating, by my count, about 5 million in marketing spend so far. Amazing. And I have personally been a seller, selling sales, enterprise sales, software and sales, and I've sold about $35 million worth of enterprise software and services. So I know something about the sales process here. I have personally, as well with my team, designed about 3,000 websites, sales presentations, and messaging frameworks that have earned these organizations we work with easily over $100 million. So this is a little bit about me. My book you can pick up on Amazon for $14.99. I would love if you did that, and I'd love an honest review if you can by, I would say, Valentine's Day would be awesome. You can pick this up on Amazon. It's called Storycraft. All right. So who is this not for, this masterclass? It is not for those who don't run their own business. I would say it needs to be for CEOs, businesses that don't sell an innovative product or service, businesses that don't already have successful customers. So if you don't have successful customers, this is not for you. It's also not for you if you're not committed to your vision and committed to helping your customers. It's if your business has grown by 500% by 2023, this is also not for you. You probably nailed it already. You're probably using AI. It's also not for you if the products and services you sell do not require change. But if these aren't you, then you are in the right place. So my promise to you in the next 45 minutes is how to nail your sales message, even if your solution is sophisticated, complicated, and needs to be demonstrated, how to turn your homepage into a $50 million, so to speak, home run for perfect buyers, why it's game over for most marketing playbooks and what you really need to do instead, how to attract ideal customers into buying conversations and lead your category as the number one or the only choice, even if they've never heard of your solution, and how to get AI to create a torrent of 100% on-brand content without hallucinations or fancy prompting. I call it lazy prompting. You'll be able to lazy prompt and get amazing on-brand content. So that's my promise to you. But first, is this you? Your solution is amazing. Your customers love you, but you and your sales reps are working so hard explaining, demoing, and trying to convince people why what you're selling is the thing they need to buy. It should be a no-brainer, but it is a brainer. You have a marketer marketing, but it isn't turning into sales. You have asked ChatGPT to write you a blog or a post or marketing, whatever, and it was just rubbish, or it needed so much editing, and you're cleaning up what the robot is doing. And that's a terrible place for a smart human, especially an entrepreneur CEO or even a marketer that you paid on your team. If you're seeing a large part of your demos meeting ending in no sales, even 6 months later, if your win rates are down, we see this commonly, win rates are way down, sales teams are missing quota, and average deal sizes are decreasing. We're seeing this. If you're seeing this too, you're in the right place to make these shifts. If you've read these books, many of these books like Building a Story Brand from Donald Miller, or This is Marketing by Seth Godin, Gap Selling from Keenan, give me a 1 in the chat if you read some of these books. These are amazing books, but knowing isn't doing. If in spite of reading these books, maybe you even read my book, you haven't really been able to put it into action into your business, especially with integrating with AI, then you haven't made these shifts. If you've got sales reps and they're singing from different hymn sheets, telling different stories, you haven't made these shifts. If you're spending money on a website guy or a social media people or social gal, a PPC person, but you're missing a single compelling story that's easy to talk about, that attracts your ideal customers into conversations, then you haven't made these shifts. If you were to pull up your sales presentation And not only is it boring, but perhaps it has page numbers and it's more like a document than actually a discovery prompter, then you haven't made these shifts. If you have wording on your website like this, words like creating innovative, there's that word again, workflow technologies that drive high reliability, says who, what the hell is this company selling? Then you haven't made these shifts, because words like that, words that are on the screen, maybe you've used these self-ascribed words like best in class or powered by superior architecture, says who, revolutionary, says who, the future of, says who. So if you're using language like this, first of all, nobody believes it. Second of all, ChatGPT will give you this language all day long, because it's untrained and this is the base model. But clarity beats these buzzwords every time, and that's what needs to be trained in the GPT. We're going to be talking about this. If your slides are a Franken-deck, what I mean by that is it's built over time, getting larger and larger, but isn't helping convert deals. You're creating full feature demos and case studies and ROI calculators, how it works videos, but all of that stuff is not helping convert. You haven't made these shifts. If you're thinking, well, our business is different, our solution is so sophisticated, it really is different. How could our messaging be simple when our solution is complicated or every customer is unique? You haven't made these shifts. So the good news here is those are all symptoms. The real problem is that you haven't made these 5 shifts that we're going to go through, but once you do, you're going to have complete confidence in every dollar you're spending on marketing. You're going to be spending a whole lot less. You're going to lead your category in a category of one. And when I say lead your category, that means all of your competitors, and accelerate qualification to close deals. Your leadership and your team will be fully aligned, running in the same direction. You'll be able to create tons of on-brand content everywhere through everybody that you hire to produce content or writing emails or writing blogs. Everyone will be on brand without hiring anyone more, any additional people, and you'll be able to attract ideal prospects showing up already predisposed to buy. Those are the power here of the shifts, and that's why those are the symptoms. So let's jump into it. Are you guys ready? Give me a 9 in the chat if you guys are ready to jump into the 5 shifts. We got a 9. Look at these 9s. Heather, Malik, Leo, John, Paul, Ringo. No, that's the Beatles. I see Bill, Michael. Who is that? The Beatle? Pete Best. Peter is the drummer of the Beatles that got fired, I think. Yeah, so we got a great group here. Let's jump in. So the first shift that you need to do, and I know you want to get to the AI stuff. I want to get to it too, because I'm so excited about AI. But we need to make these shifts first, because if you don't, you are going to fail using AI. So the first thing you need to do is lead a movement. So what do I mean by leading a movement? So are you selling an innovation? Yes, you are. All you guys are. So what does your innovation challenge? Let's peel back the layer of this innovation thing. Type in the chat, what is your innovation challenge? What's the enemy that you and your customer both have in common? So you're challenging that. You're busting that open. You're busting down those doors. Type in the chat. So look what Salesforce.com did. They're a multi-billion-dollar company. Back in 2005, they launched an attack against software. Software was the villain. This was the time, if you can remember back then, this was the time when Salesforce.com was leading the charge to the cloud, where it was the end of software being installed. And that was the villain. No more software was their battle cry. And HubSpot had one in 2015, inbound marketing, and that did wonders for them. It was a message, a movement that they were leading. The old way is to have the voice of an arrogant expert that is making claims about we're revolutionary, it's we're the best, or we're an innovation. That's the old way. It doesn't work anymore. The new way needs to be encouraging change, in talking about how the old way is dead. It will lead you to ruin, and getting your ideal customers to appreciate that fact And the ideal customers will appreciate that fact. Your unideal, your folks that aren't ready to move, will not want to buy into that message. You're creating a message in leading a movement that Chris Orleb calls an effective nexus. It changes how your buyer thinks about the problem. It shakes their confidence, but in a good way, and it's polarizing, and it's a clear statement. So type in the chat here, what are you rebelling against? Type in the chat. Karen, stop letting your content gather dust. Yes, that's like, that's a problem. That isn't so much a movement towards someplace positive, Karen. I would say that's pointing people's face in the mess and putting people's face in the SHIT, but it isn't leading a movement to what they need to be doing. So part of it is looking at where you need to lead people, your ideal customers, to a world where, and part of it is putting their face in the mess. That's right. So Bill, we are challenging standard communications. So I don't know what that means. I'm sorry, that's way too vague. And I'm going to push you, Bill. I hope you appreciate this. You're an entrepreneur, you're a CEO. My job here in this masterclass is to help you have a breakthrough. So give me permission, if you will. That was a command. Give me permission. Would you please give me permission to coach you on really dialing in your leadership movement? All right. Centralized communications such as email and centralized chat. Okay. A little clearer. A little clearer. So what change does your innovation require? If centralized communication such as email and centralized chat, is that something that you're rebelling against? Or is that something that you're championing, getting people to get to? Like, is that the promised land? Is that the place you're bringing to? Is that the place that you're trying to lead a movement to? It's not clear here by the chat. I'm sure if we brought you on vocally, you clarify, but type in the chat as best you can, because we've got a large group here, what your polarizing statement might be and what change does your innovation require. So please, everybody, take a moment, work on your business here. This is your time. This is my time. So like it's Fast Times at Ridgemont High here. Get the scene with Mr. Hand and the pizza coming into the room. I don't know if you know that movie. Anyway, this is our time to work on this together. Type in the chat, what would you say to your prospects to stop doing? What do they need to stop doing, and what do they need to start doing? This is the clarity around leading a movement. Stop training employees in the conference room. Teach them as they work. I love that, John. Really good. Karen, we're leading a movement to redefine how people engage with knowledge. Great. So a little vague. We're leading them. So like, how software, like Salesforce.com did it, it was so specific. It's like end of software. What are you attacking? Who's the villain of that story? Leading a movement to redefine how people engage with knowledge. Like what? What is that? Like, oh my gosh, bring it down to earth for us here. So Christopher Voss says, stop chasing yes. And he's a great legendary negotiator, wrote a great book called Never Split the Difference. How to negotiate like if your life depends on it. And he is a teacher of getting to a no, how getting a no from people is more valuable than getting to a yes. Stop chasing the yes in sales. It's a really great mindset to have. You can use this in the training, by the way, of your GPTs in how you are messaging. Getting to a no, we can talk about that later. This company here, Cognition, their leading movement is to goodbye spreadsheets, saying goodbye to the old way and hello to the new way, which is connected information. And this is hinting a little bit to, I think, what you're doing there with Karan, the idea of engaging with knowledge. But what does engaging with knowledge mean? That's just so up in the clouds. I like to say stop hype marketing, and this has to do with what we do at PitchKitchen, and to lead a movement instead is much more effective. This is a contrast that aware.com is using that compares the old way against the new way. The new way is intelligent biometrics. The old way is digital access. And this is like a comparison chart. This is fundamental to the training of their GPT, and the messaging they're doing is attracting customers that appreciate that the new way is the only way to move forward. The digital access doesn't work for many, many reasons. The people, as Seth Godin says, who aren't enrolled in the journey, they're going to ignore you, and that's great. That's fine. You don't want them anyway. That's the good news. Because I believe that sales is an act of leadership. Do you believe that too? Type in the chat, type in sales if you believe that sales is an act of leadership. I believe that too. And I believe marketing is also an act of leadership. It's helping your customers lead them to a place. It's about creating an uprising, creating a rebellion, creating a movement. And this works so much better than just telling everyone about how awesome your innovation is. And if you don't believe me, you can try that out yourself and see how that goes. Anyway, lead an uprising against the status quo if you want to be your market leader. Consider, if you want to clarify this, what would be your TED Talk? What would it be about? If you want to create a world where, wow, your customers are experiencing this amazing outcomes, what would that world look like if everybody got on board with your product? What would the world look like? I mean, that's like a scary thing to think about, but it's an awesome thing to think about. And that's the place that you want to lead your people to. So taking people to that nth degree, look what Airbnb did. Live anywhere. Like, clearly nobody lives anywhere with Airbnb, but this is that aspirational picture, that story of, hey, you could like go anywhere. You can pretty much do that with Airbnb. So they went there. And if you look at these other hashtags, all of these have something in common, from what Donald Trump did with Make America Great Again to Live Anywhere. TikTok, I think, is Make Your Day. Trust Your Source, that's from the Wall Street Journal. Just Do It from Nike. Find Your Beach, I think that's Corona beer. What do all these have in common? Type in the chat, what do these all have in common? There's a structure here. There's a formula underlying these hashtags. All of them are leading a movement to a place, to a new place that their ideal customers want to go. They have nothing to do with the product. Yes, Flo, they have nothing to do with the product. They have everything to do with what I call the promised land, or the place that you eventually want your customers to go, that they want to go, that you both want them to go. So is this beginning to make sense? Type in the chat, makes sense. These very clear messages here. Hit your number from Zoom Info. For Christ's sake, these guys are selling data. But it's about, if you buy their data and use it effectively, yes, you can hit your number, which is their promised land. So if this makes sense, type in the chat, makes sense. And that will make me feel a lot better that you're getting this breakthrough. This is so critical. So marketing is about action, and marketing is about change, not hype. That's the thing. It's not about hype. And so much shitty marketing is hyping. And if you ask ChatGPT to write you a blog or an article, sadly, right out of the press, as it were, the GPT press, it's going to be hype, because it's been trained on a lot of bad marketing. So what is your hashtag? Type in the chat here, what is your hashtag? And I'd love to hear from some participants that haven't typed in the chat. Love to hear from Tyler, from Paul, from Heather, from Cynthia. Come on, boys and girls. Love to hear from you. What is your hashtag? Type in the chat. If you know it, if you haven't, give a stab. Just go for it. Type in what you're testing on, you're trying on for size, what that would be. It would speak to your movement. So Jeff Aronson, before, he's a CEO of Equipex. Before he made these shifts, confusing marketing content, pipeline was thin, letting key partners, investors down, losing deals to no decision. Afterwards, this is actually the before website. I didn't even understand anything on this website here, but afterwards, tripled the revenue in 4 months. Sorry, tripled the revenue in a year, but 6x pipeline in 4 months. Confidence in marketing spend, partners are now able to sell easily, and so grateful that the business vision is materializing. So that's what actually the website looks now. It's really good, really so good. It's so clear. I love that button, get your equipment performance snapshot. So it's not like a vague, learn more, get started, or talk to us. It's like, get something of value. I call those call to value instead of call to action. It works so much better. I also love this transformation story at the bottom. turn your underutilized equipment into an optimized health system, which is what their customers want to create. This is also great, speaks about how the world has changed and paper-based transactions are broken. This is for another company called Tangible Systems, and they're selling software that's helping companies with transactions, and they're calling it co-intelligent systems. And it's really good because it's highlighting the contrast between what's not working anymore, which is paper-based systems. So if that makes sense, it sounds like it does. We're going to move on to number 2. Let's take a look at some of your hashtags there. Heather, AI powered by people. So problem with that one, that is a steady state. That's a steady state, but that's not a call to action. There's no movement there. Lease with ease. I love that, Paul, because that starts with a verb. That's what you need to do with the hashtag, is start with a verb. A hashtag for Bill, the people's internet. No, that's a noun, not an action. And we are directly connecting the world. That's nice, but that's about you. That's not about them. So I don't want to be harsh here, guys. I'm here because you're here. This is our time, and I want to help you make these breakthroughs. Trisha has said here that she tripled the revenue, tripled sales because of the messaging that they're now using. This company actually was recently acquired because they were doing so well, and they wanted to get into a bigger organization. Yeah, so these are actually some CEOs that we have worked with, other organizations that have made these shifts. So let's go on to number 2. The second shift that you need to do is start with the problem. So, by the way, am I being too harsh with you guys? Just say yes or no. Is this too harsh? And maybe because I'm from New York, or I'm a dad of like 4 kids, and I'm like, I actually have 4 kids, 2 small ones, a 1 and a 3-year-old. My birthday was yesterday, by the way, and I've got a 24 and a 25-year-old. So I got lots of kids. So I'm like a professional dad. I got more dad experience than most men. So if I'm a little bit like a hard coach, that's where it's coming from. But give me am I too hard for you? Hard on you guys? Or you're okay? All right. So why not start with your solution? Why not start with your solution? And I would look at this picture here as the answer to that question. Why not start with your solution? What are your thoughts? Why not start with your solution? Are you still with me? Why not start with your solution? I don't know, there may be a glitch here. I don't see you guys, but let me continue. It's because it's just too much market noise. Everyone's got solutions and it doesn't work. Also, you don't want to start with a solution. You want to start with the problem, because money in sales deals follows pain. Money follows pain. Where there's pain in an organization, that's where organizations are going to spend money. And customers are going to buy more when they're feeling understood than by understanding you. And this makes sense, because if you're starting with your solution, it's all about you trying to explain your solution versus taking a more empathetic perspective and making sure that you understand their problem from a marketing perspective, that your messaging and your marketing conveys that. The pain, this concept here about the painkiller versus the vitamin, you got that. Okay, great. So let's continue. So the reason why solution marketing doesn't work anymore is why change, why now, and why you aren't questions that solution marketing is answering. The old way of pitching, where you're starting with your solution, is the voice, or the pitch is, we help companies, say, achieve compliance or get more sales or achieve this great goal. But when you're messaging with starting with the problem, it turns it around and it says things like, we help companies who are struggling with compliance or frustrated with low sales. Does that make sense? Give me a yes if that makes sense. And that starting with the problem and training your GPTs, training your AIs, that this is an aspect of your messaging that needs to get dialed in. Yeah. So I love this chart. This was actually inspired, and it's in my book. It's inspired by that Anais Nin quote, where the risk of, and the day came when the risk of maintaining tight in the bud was greater than blossoming. And this is what's happening with your prospects. There are going to be several prospects where the risk of changing is just too great for them. and there are going to be several prospects where the risk of doing nothing is too great for them. And when you're selling your marketing to people, you need to find out where they are on this curve. And so I really like to flip Jeffrey Moore's Crossing the Chasm curve on, it's really a chasm for your customers to make this shift. I call it the buyer's belief curve. And whenever you're marketing or talking to someone in your sales process, you need to find out where they are on this risk of change piece and encourage them, not by promoting your solution, but by having them see the certainty of what happens if they do nothing, really the risk of doing nothing. That's the biggest buying motivator for any B2B sale, I would say. These are just a couple really good examples of, this is a bad example of a website, accounting for the pace of change that tries to be cute. It's an accounting firm versus what really people want. This is really about them, but versus this, getting the right financial advice, business advice, accounting advice. This is what they're offering. It's a great accounting firm, mid-tier accounting firm in Atlanta. So type in the comments here, and this is a little bit of a pop quiz. What is the number one problem that you solve? What is the number one problem that you solve for your customers, you help solve for your customers? Type this in the chat. Type that in the chat. What is that number one problem? Paul, your customer's paying, but what is that? What is that problem that you're solving? Type that in the chat. This is a bit of a pop quiz, but listen, if you're going to start with the problem and make this shift, you need to be really clear on what this number one problem is. Okay. All right. So Michael, get ready for some serious critique. Karen, get ready for some serious critique. It's coming down hard. Oh my gosh. John, I think you're closer there. Adrian. All right. So here's the deal. Adrian, Karen, Michael. Let's start with Michael. Give people time back in their schedule. Is that a problem or is that a future goal? Type in the chat. Karen, more engagement with their content. Karen, is that a problem for them or is that a future goal? Adrian, relieving technical debt easier. Is that a problem or is that a future goal? Cynthia, again, I'm giving you an F on this. Streamline gate management. Is that a problem or is that a goal? Please, you work with me on this. Do you understand the difference between a problem, which is current, present, and dangerous, and that if someone doesn't do anything about it, that bad things are going to happen, versus a goal, which is a future possible state that you're dreaming about? Yes, Cynthia, streamlined gate management is future. John, training is slow and difficult to create, so that is a problem. Thank you, John. You got an A for that. Michael, time is a problem for any. My services free up. That's nice that your free services free up time, but what is the problem is this question here. Stop bottlenecks at the gate. That's an encouragement to do something about in the future. Yes, technical debt, Adrian, is how hackers enter systems and systems crash. Yes, that is a situation, but that is not a problem. So clarity here. There's a difference between a problem and a goal. A problem is present, dangerous, and present. It's right here. We're facing it. A goal is something that hasn't happened yet that we want to have happen. Now, if your marketing and your messaging, your training and AIs is all about achieving a goal, that's selling vitamins, not painkillers. Painkillers are focused on the problem. So data is not up to date. Thank you, Leo. You nailed it. If your data is not up to date, that is a situation that causes a problem. Type in the chat, Leo, what is the problem that data not being up to date causes or impacts? So guys, am I too harsh for you here? But you guys are entrepreneurs, CEOs. I get it. You're steeped in your solution. You love your solution and you want to talk about your solution all day long, but you need to make this shift in your messaging, your marketing for your team, for your business, so you can be much more successful and you can have that $50 million homepage. You do need to make these shifts. You can't just tell people why they should make the change, because facts, do they change people's minds? Yes or no? Type in the chat. Cynthia, community is not secure. Yes, that's a situation that causes what problem for your customers? Type in the chat. What does community not secure? What problem does that create? So no, facts do not change people's minds. Nobody cares. What changes people's minds are the things that they themselves decide. Nobody cares about your why. Nobody cares about this in your marketing. Don't put that there. People believe in the things they themselves decide, not what you tell them. You're going to screenshot anything in this. This is what you should screenshot. People believe in things they themselves decide, not what you tell them. So your marketing can't tell people what they should do. It should describe the problem better than they can. And if you can do that, what kind of doctor would you feel comfortable with a doctor that can describe your situation and what's happening in your body better than you can with more detail? Like, how would you feel about their credibility and credentials? Type in the chat. Yeah. Yeah. I know that I would feel that they have a lot more, they have the best solution for me, that I have a lot of trust there. So this is an authority building scenario when your marketing is building authority by really empathizing and connecting with the problem. Here's a great example from ReadyWorks Health. They nailed this third shift about starting with the problem. Patients before paper. Turn paper into checklists. So this is the idea. Doctors and nurses are spending a lot of time in front of laptops and paper, but not in front of patients. Chief medical officers are really trying to combat this. And this ReadyWorks is helping these hospitals fix that problem. And after making this shift, ReadyWorks made so much more sales and is doing really great over the last year, because they nailed this. So start with the problem is the second shift. Man, I want to work for ReadyWorks with that saying. That's great, Leo. So listen, does this make sense? How starting with the problem is an essential shift that needs to be made in your messaging, your marketing, so that you can be more successful. Can you provide a definition of problem for clarity? So problem is something that is, well, why don't you take a stab at that? But I would say it is present. It is the thing. There's no talk of solution. It's the thing that is causing impact in the organization. Being late, not having information, being disconnected, being siloed. Those are examples of problems. A situation that you're facing which has impact on you, on your customers, on an organization. Does that make sense? Okay. So Warren Johnson, he's the CEO of ScribeX, and before he made these shifts, stagnant growth, good salespeople were leaving, value of innovation wasn't getting across, missing forecasts. And after he made these shifts, he went from, I think, 137 customers to nearly 3,000 in 12 months. So messaging matters. It really does. Manish, before, he's missing targets, bootstrapped with limited runway, couldn't invest in product without more customers. And they've grown exponentially since 2022. So this is hard stuff, because if you hire marketers, and I'm sure you do, marketers are just going to market all freaking day. That's what their job is. And they're going to make content that make you feel really good about your solution. But it doesn't really help customers buy, because it doesn't empathize with their problem. There are blind spots everywhere. A lot of marketers and CEOs have outdated playbooks that they're using, especially if you're asking GPT to use a marketing playbook. It's going to be outdated because it's been trained on outdated playbooks. And a lot's on the line. I mean, a lot of venture-backed companies have bit the dust even last year. I was reading some articles about that. And I know the best salespeople aren't going to save you, because they're pretty much going to quit. You can't just rely on great salespeople, because if you're not supporting them with the right message, the right story, the right marketing, the right homepage, to let that do a lot of the selling so that they could spend their time doing what they do best, which is have breakthrough conversations. So they're going to quit if you're not doing this for them. And your fancy GPT prompts, that won't save you, because it's hit or miss, and it's ripe with hallucinations. And mostly because it's trained from marketing from 2015, which doesn't work anymore. All right, let's get to number 3. And I know we're running late, but because of my tech problems, but let's just jump through this. Number 3, the third shift you need to make is make your customer the hero. Now, I know you've heard this before, but if They're the hero. Who does that make you? Type in the chat. Who does that make you, your brand, your solution, your company? What role is your organization playing if they're the hero? Type in the chat. And if you know that, then you think about the other cast of characters. So if you're the guide or the trusted advisor or the enabler, very good. Who is the villain of the story? Type in the chat. I like that. The facilitator, the Robin. So I don't think you're the Robin so much because Robin wasn't really a guide to Batman. Robin was a sidekick that helped the hero, a champion of the hero, but not really the facilitated, trusted guide. So who is the villain? Yes, Charles, you nailed it. It is the status quo. So what is your marketing in love with today? Just be honest. What is your marketing in love with? So if I were to go right now to your homepage, and by the way, if you want me to go to your homepage at the end of the session and offer a critique in front of your colleagues, I'm happy to do that. And I'll be a little nicer than I would be to my children. No promises there. So what is your marketing in love with? Typing it in the chat your URL, and if we have time, we'll get to it at the end. But type in the chat, what is your marketing in love with now? If I were to go to your website, and this is a key indicator of, mirror, mirror on the wall. What is your homepage? Your $50 million, is it a $2 million homepage? Is it a $50 homepage? I could tell right away, and you can probably tell right away once you look at it and you have this perspective, what is it in love with? And this is the like black or white indicator. Yeah, the $5 homepage. So the $5 homepage is absolutely in love with itself. Absolutely. So type in the chat, what's the $50 million homepage in love with? Type in the chat. Type in the chat, what's the $50 million homepage in love with? You got this. You got this. Come on. Yeah, the problem, action, and the solution. Yes, I like that combination. Yeah, I would say problem, action, and then promised land. It's the place that the solution gets people to. People aren't really buying your solution. What are they buying? Type in the chat. What are people really buying when they buy your solution? You know, they're not buying your solution. That's the hint. Type in the chat. Anyway, this is the ideal. So a lot of CEOs and people say, yeah, let's make our customer the hero. Every marketer says I can do that, but they have no freaking idea how to do that. And I can tell, and you can tell right away, a $5 homepage, what's that's in love with. Because the voice in all the messaging on that homepage is why we're the best. And the voice on the $50 million homepage is how we make you better, how we get you there, how we get you there, how we make you better. Absolutely. So this is an example of a really shitty website. AI human interaction, creating a better world for tomorrow. You've seen these websites. You've seen these all the time. This is like a $5 website right over here. And it's terrible. And it's terrible because it's not clear what they're selling, who they're selling it to, what problem they're solving, what do they want me to do. It's just a treasure hunt. This was the after effect, the same company. It's hard to know, the same company afterwards, and it's so much better. It's like, okay, what are they selling? They're selling some kind of telemedicine platform. It's a telemedicine platform that brings in emotional AI. I get it. I get it. So this is what it takes to get your website to a $50 million homepage, is to make sure the story is clear, making your customer the hero instead of you. So, because what you're really selling is helping them change. Your solution is not the thing they're buying. They're buying the ability to change. And to that point, you need a call to action on your homepage that's not passive and not vague, but very specific. We talked about this a little earlier. And the magnetic messaging framework helps you with these very specific calls to action. And this is another specific tip. I would get rid of your form on your homepage. Like, oh, want to know more? Click here and then type in your name, type in your email address, your last name. Give me your break. That's where 90% of deals go to die, in the back and forth emails that happen from website forms. It's so 2015. You need to basically turn your homepage into a conversion page so that your homepage books a meeting, so that the one click they have on your homepage is, I don't know, Tuesday, 2 o'clock. And they pick that time because they've committed to talk, to have that conversation. And then on the following page, of course, you capture their name, their email address, and perhaps a couple questions to help you get armed for that conversation. So I'm offering to you guys, I know some of you may need to go. We're getting a long time. You can snap this QR code, or you can click on the offer here. Let me put that up on the screen. Share offer. So you can, we haven't gotten to the last 2 shifts, but if you can stay, please stay. You're going to get all these goodies. But if you can't stay and you want to book some time with us, please do that. All right. This is Trisha. Trisha, before she made these shifts, new product, new board, massive goals, couldn't differentiate, failing to book new conversations, and missing sales targets. Afterwards, doubled sales in 3 months. Actually, doubled sales rate in 3 months, not the sales, double sales rate. The win rate was doubled. So that means out of 6 conversations, and she was only closing 1, she was closing, I can't do the math on that, but you can. That's what I mean by the win rate. Confident in marketing spend and poised for acquisition, and this company was acquired. And she actually put this up on LinkedIn, set up a call with me with this very clear stop delivery at any cost and start cost-effective delivery. And then she sent me an email saying that after posting this on LinkedIn, a meeting was booked immediately by an ideal customer with that clear messaging. So it totally works. So if that makes sense to you, make your customer the hero. Type in chat makes sense. And also I'll see if our chat and tech is still working. Yes, it's still working. Great. All right, so number 4, name your category. This is a fundamental shift you need to do, to name your category. So if you can look at phones in the last 20 years, what's changed? What's changed is the prefix. It's typically a pre-word. And what's changed in computing, there's pre-words changing. Apple is launched their category called spatial computing. And yes, Meta is doing this too, but they're not calling it, they're calling it virtual reality. But Apple is calling it spatial computing. And arguably that's much better. So the idea of computing and Apple is there in the corner, but spatial computing is this area we're going to zoom into, and that's the new category. This is what creates gives you a category of one. And you need to do this for your business by identifying what's so unique about your innovation, your solution, and giving it a category. So you take an existing category, an existing market, and known products. And then you take your product and your unique category on top of that. So this is NVIDIA. They created just 2 weeks ago a new category called accelerated computing. And that's with a GPU and a CPU on the same board. So they basically named a new category following the innovation that they have. And this is something that you need to do as well. It's a fundamental shift. So again, to clarify, the umbrella category, your unique category, is defined with a pre-word. So if marketing is the umbrella category, we're a sales and marketing enablement agency, but AI integrated sales and marketing is what we're doing. That's the unique category that PitchKitchen is in. Following from the Apple Intelligence Playbook, they just added Apple in front of intelligence to give it AI for the rest of us. It's fantastic marketing. Clearly, those guys are earning the big bucks there. Comfort ownership is a new category. Comfort Connect is creating, where it's really leasing equipment instead of buying it. Conversation intelligence. Warren Buffett, like I said, this, how do you beat Bobby Fischer? You play him at any game but chess. ReadyWorks Health, mentioned them before. Their category is smart forms. Smart forms versus checklists. Clipper is video intelligence versus video libraries. A lot of companies we work with are adding intelligence to, adding a pre-word before intelligence because they're bringing some AI product to the market. Intelligent recovery, there's an example, Trilio versus the old way, which is data backup. So this is what you guys need to do, is fundamentally create a category that you could be the best in and own that. And look at some of these companies over the last 5 or 6 years that I'm putting on my screen. These are companies that created categories, and they've named them. And all of these are essentially prefixes in front of existing categories. So for example, Clear Metal, instead of logistics business, they're in predictive logistics, which really identifies an aspect of their solution that makes them unique. Does this make sense to you guys? And if you thought about your existing, your unique category, type in the chat. What is your unique category? Type it in the chat. Type it in and let's take a look. That's a tough one. I hear Arnold Schwarzenegger's voice when I see those words. That's a tough one. It is tough, but this is what you need to do. You need to name your category, and this really helps you differentiate between anybody else's in the competition. People aren't going to confuse your solution with other solutions that are very similar, maybe nothing at all like yours, but because you haven't named your category, people are confusing what you're offering. Your positioning is confusing. So Brian, I love intelligent procurement. That makes so much sense. Cynthia, smart gate management. That makes sense, using the smart word, which is like a dog whistle for artificial intelligence. Invisible windows, question mark, maybe, I don't know, maybe. Could be. I don't know. I looked through a window. I'm looking through a window now. It's kind of invisible. Anyway, use the secret weapon. This is the 5th shift. And finally, we are here. You guys are here. And I'm so excited to hand to you the secret weapon here that you need to do. So once you've gone through this, let me take it this way. Do you have a core messaging framework document? Just type in the chat, yes or no. Do you have a core messaging framework document that you've spent time and energy really answering the questions of who is your ideal customer? What do they want? What are their problems they have? What are you asking them to do? So no, this is what actually takes time to do, intelligence, like human intelligence, experience to do. And most organizations don't have that, but guess what? You need that now with AI, because if you've been disappointed by the content you get out of ChatGPT, it's because the prompts won't work, because GPT has been trained on lingo from 2015 and doesn't know anything about your story. Plus, you know, hey, ChatGPT 2015 called, they want their marketing lingo back. As you probably have seen, these awful words showing up in copywriting and marketing that people are using when they go to ChatGPT. Type in the chat yes or no if you've seen some of these words show up when you're reading shit out there, and like this is a key indicator that it's been written by AI. And it's because people are using AI, but they're not training the AI with a document. So GPT is like a Harvard grad marketing. I don't know if they do marketing at Harvard, but an apprentice marketer that has been trained on billions of marketing words from the 2015s, 2010s, and including words like from Enron and other failed businesses. So here's the secret weapon. Get your AI to become your marketing expert in your brand voice, but how? This is the 3 steps to do it. Number 1, engage an expert to facilitate interviews, validating findings with select customers, and define the most effective problem-first framework. 2, use the refined framework to train a custom GPT that generates 100% on-brand content with lazy prompting, and then transform your website, presentations, emails, marketing with 25x efficiency for free at that point. Basically, anyone could use the GPT that you have hired on your team, and everyone will be on brand and producing at least 25x more what they're currently doing. So this is the secret weapon, but this could only happen if you've answered those questions right. This is the 3-month, 90-day sprint we typically do. And the first month is where we're doing these discussions, these intakes, these one-on-one and group conversations to pull out what we need in order to train and write the framework, using the right frameworks, and train the AI. That happens really in month 2 to get that custom trained GPT for on-brand content generation. And even month 3, there's that a GPT lead magnet creation. I mean, think about it. You can actually create a GPT that's a lead magnet, like a GPT magnet, where imagine the intelligence that you and your team have. Maybe you've written some content, you've got some information that's so valuable. Imagine creating, instead of a white paper or a PDF, you're creating a tool that your prospects could use that can benefit them. So that's an option for month 3. So, instead of, or in addition to white papers and PDFs and things like that for lead magnets. But I'm bringing this up because what happens, all this good stuff happen if month 1 happens, which is the really working through answering all these questions, like what are the triggers making the status quo intolerable? What do your prospects believe around the issue that they're facing? Or what is the name of the old game? What is the name of the new game? The old way versus the new way comparison. That stuff, it's in your mind, it's in your heart, it's on your executive team. Your chief sales officer knows this, your chief CTO knows this, but it's not anywhere except in your brains. We need to pull all that out and get that documented in words, in writing. And once it is, oh my gosh, we got like a 20-page document that may be boring for anyone to read, but guess what? This is the lifeblood. This is what GPT thrives on. You take GPT and you train it on that 25-page document. Oh my God, just take that first layer of GPT and you train it on your second layer, which is your business and your messaging, your positioning. And then boom, you're having chats. Everyone in your team is having chats with that custom GPT, and they're creating amazing content. It blows my mind to see what our customers are doing and how much they're enjoying and having fun with spending time on using their expertise in creating content, but not the minutia of having to write anything. They've got their best copywriter in their pocket 24/7 without sick days. So that's why I'm in the business of an AI integrated sales and marketing agency, so to help our clients become AI integrated in their sales and marketing, so that you can create a torrent of content that is 100% on brand and that attracts your ideal customers. So once you have that trained GPT or that document, you can forget about the GPT. You can take that magnetic messaging framework document and you could bring that to Notebook LM, which is this experimental feature from Google. You can create a podcast. We actually did this for one of our customers in like 12 minutes, created a podcast between 2 AI voices, a male voice and a female voice. And it was trained on their messaging. And they use this podcast to share with their prospects and are using it to get sales. And so the marketing cost is near zero on this because they spent the time doing the hard work. So does that make sense? Type in the chat that if you're probably using AI today at that first level at the bottom, but you need to be using AI at that third level on the top. Give me a yes in the chat. Makes sense if what I'm talking about here makes sense. Yep, Karen, Leo, Charles, Brian, awesome. So yeah, I had to use a meme here, and this is really what in 2025, the gap is widening. Companies, your competitors are probably going to do this if you don't do this year. But everyone is going to be doing this by 2027, I would hope, because if you're not doing this, it's untenable for organizations. So I mean, I can pop out of here and I can show you all these GPTs that I'm so excited to have been part of. Here on my screen, you can see PitchKitchen's GPTs here. Each one of these have been trained on different messaging frameworks for different clients. And that's what they use. Basically, you can click on one. This is like a Cybra marketing and sales copywriter. Hit start chat. And I can be like, yo, what's up? Make me a cool LinkedIn post about something newsworthy. And like spelling errors, the laziest prompt whatsoever. And boom. So like this is writing a very specific LinkedIn post, lazy prompting, and with hashtags that are related to this business. So I hope you see the power of this lazy prompting with a custom trained GPT. I'm just curious, is this the first time you're seeing this? Have you seen anything like this before? Type in first time if this is the first time you've seen anything like this. All right, so let's continue to get to, so the secret weapon, which is the fifth shift, is engage an expert, an outside expert, to facilitate interviews and get to that right positioning, to validate findings with select customers, define the most effective problem-first framework, use the refined framework to train a custom GPT that generates the content and transform your website, presentations, emails, marketing at 25x efficiency. So does that make sense? Type in the chat, makes sense. And so lets me know that this webinar is still working. So Masood, before, he was extremely frustrated that sales were declining, doing 30 demos to one sale. Oh my gosh, 30 demos to one sale. It's untenable. Large sales team turnover, good salespeople were leaving, and anxious about limited financial runway. This is their website before they made the change. And you know, this is a $5 website, because like, what is it? Like, watch now, the call to action is weak. No wonder why salespeople were leaving. Who is this for? Nobody knows. What are they selling? Nobody knows. This is the after, and everybody knows they're selling intelligent recovery for organizations that want to do better backup and recovery. Global enterprises, CISOs, and DevOps leaders. So anyway, afterwards, tripled at bats, doubled their win rate in 2 months, and new salespeople are closing deals, and I'm really excited for them. So those are the 5 shifts that fire up AI integrated sales and marketing. And my promise to you was to talk about how to nail your sales message, how to turn your homepage into a home run, and why it's game over for most marketing playbooks, especially the ones that GPT has been trained on, how to attract ideal customers into buying conversations and lead your category by choosing that category of one with a prefix or a pre-word before your existing category that really speaks to the differentiator, and how to get AI to create a torrent of 100% on-brand content. So just to recap, this is what you got to do to win. Lead a movement. Start with the problem. Make your customer the hero. Position yourself as the guide. Name your category and use the secret weapon. So I would say now you guys have a choice. You can do nothing. You could, 2, go it alone, or you can get help. I want you guys to get help so that you can really knock this out of the park and be successful in bringing your innovation to the hands of customers that could use it the most. We typically have this 90-day sprint, but we have other programs here that might be able to help you. This is what I have for you. Snap that QR code or click on the offer in the upper right-hand corner and book a call. And that's when we'll have a discussion. We'll get clear on what to do, and then we'll get it done. We'll talk about getting a game plan to getting it done in short order. And this is absolutely free if you're the right fit for this scenario here. So giveaway time. Yay, I'm going to give away stuff. So the magnetic messaging framework, let me give away that. Share handout. You should see that in the upper right-hand corner. You can download that now. And now let's give away the 12 sales conversations that open minds and close deals. Let's give that away. I'm going to give that away in the chat. These are the keys to making sure your sales presentation is covering all the right bases. And this this link I'm putting in the chat now is the free GPT homepage messaging evaluator. You can certainly play with that, and it'll get you started if you have nowhere else to go. And then there is the book. Where is my book? Here it is. I think it's here. This is the PDF of Storycraft for Disruptors. I was going to call it Storycraft for Innovators, but I feel like it's really about the disruption that innovation creates. So I decided to call it Disruptors. Anyway, that third link is the book. You can download that and read through on your screens if you like. But I would love if you bought the book on Amazon, because that's where you can actually write the review. So I would say if you do not hire an outside expert, you'll struggle to do this alone, even with your internal team, because you kind of are stuck on the inside. We are, and I am an outsider here. Your marketers aren't paid to take an opposing view. We are paid to take an opposing view, to take the view of the deniers, the view of the status quo lovers. That's who we're paid to take in this process. And so without hiring an outside expert, you are going to go back and forth between good opinions and not sure which is the right one. We have a process of validating what we're coming up with to make sure it's going to work. You won't likely be using proven positioning frameworks. You'll likely be using frameworks that don't work anymore, frameworks that are solution driven and stuck in the inside lingo and baseball, inside baseball terms that we talk about. And you'll continue to waste money on marketing that doesn't work, and especially continue to waste money on copywriting and marketing without using AI here in this manner. I would say don't hire a marketer, hire a sales enabler. And everything we talked about today is about enabling sales. So if you're thinking about booking some time, please do that. And we would love to talk to you about how we can help. Because I believe that you're here because you're really interested in helping your customers and helping the world be a better place. And that's what I'm interested in doing, helping make this world a better place. And so the work that we do in positioning will do that. But I would say don't book a call if you do not have a viable product with happy customers, because that's an indicator that your product is not making the world a better place. Do not book a call if you're not committed to your vision, like I am. You need to be committed to it. So don't book a call if you're okay with where your business is. That's fine. It's okay to be okay, but don't waste my time. I mean, I'm busy and this is free. If you aren't challenging the status quo in your industry, so you need to be challenging the status quo. If you're not challenging the status quo, don't book a call. And if you can't or won't invest time and money in your business, don't book a call, because success loves speed and action. And as a leader, I believe you need to make these shifts. So please think about it. Guys, what are your questions? And if we have time, type in your URL, and I'm happy to do a quick critique on what I'm seeing on the screen. And I promise not to be too tough with what I'm seeing. I got Karan at optimalaccess.com, and I'll pull that up in a second. All right, I'll pull that up now. But in the chat, type in the chat any questions you have. All right, so Karan, we are going to talk about Karan's website here. We got Leo's, Michael, Cynthia's on bat in the batter's box. So right off the bat, Karan, we are changing the way people connect with knowledge! Exclamation point. Gosh, I love you, Karan. Big hugs for Karan. But sadly, this is terrible marketing. Terrible. Because, Karan, type in the chat here, who is this in love with? Come on, you've answered the question, I think, before. So how it works. So this is about your solution, but it's not what I need to do as an ideal customer. What are the 3 steps that are going to get me from where I am today to across the river to where I am successful? So so I like the idea of a plan here, but this is the wrong plan. Product offerings, no problem with this, because you've got to have product offerings, but get curator, so like you're asking people to take call to action, like get curator. I don't even know what curator is. You're asking people to click on that. I don't want to get it. I want to first find out what it is. You've got so many call to actions here. Find out how it works. Get Q bucket. What do you want me to click on? I'm sorry. You need 1 call to action on your homepage. 1. All right. Just 1. It's okay. If you say 2, a secondary call to action could be, okay, they're not ready to buy or book a meeting. Maybe they want to download a lead magnet or register for a webinar. All right. So I hope I wasn't too harsh, Karan. Was I too harsh? Give me a yes or no. Just like, are you crying under the table right now in tears? Or are you like, okay, I can take it. We'll fix it. All right, Karan, no, I can take it. All right. Let's take a look at another one. Sweet solvers. All right, let's go to sweet solvers. This is sweet solvers is Leo. Hello, Leo. How are you doing today? Awesome that you're here. Oh my gosh, we're a long masterclass today. Empower growth with sweet solvers. So again, what do you mean empower growth? Empower is such a vague 1990s word. And everybody wants growth, but why should I believe that I'm going to get growth with SweetSolvers? So the two calls to action, our services, or request to brainstorm. So, oh my gosh, what should I choose? Like, I really just want one call to action, which I think is request a brainstorm. I believe I can get our services by clicking on the services button here. So you've got some redundant navigation. Why SweetSolvers is the best choice. So first of all, you haven't put down here, who is your ideal customer? Who is it? Like, is it me? What type of business are the folks that, like, am I at the right room right now? Like, who is this for? And if you don't say who this is for, maybe in 3 categories underneath here, then I don't know that what you're selling is for me, and I don't know that it's the best choice. You're trying to convince me that it's the best choice, but you haven't even proven to me that you know who I am. And one way to do that is to have a strip in here, a section that describes my problem. What is my problem? You haven't said that here. Great, you've got testimonials. Your website here is not a $50 million website, but it can be with some messaging shifts. So Leo, was this too harsh? Are you okay? I'm so sorry. I have a tendency to go hard. I'm so sorry. All right. You're okay. You're still standing. All right. Let's go on to Michael. Spot-free window cleaning. All right. Let's just look in the interest of time. I don't know if I can go all of them. Here, TechWave Solutions. Let's go to TechWave Solutions here. Monitor and control all gate access in one centralized cloud-based platform. Okay, so that is what it is. I think you're missing an eyebrow. I'd love an eyebrow up here, which is the category that you're in. What category this is? Is this a cloud-based asset management platform? Like, what is the category? I'd love the category here. And the headline is just so boring. It's like what it is. The purpose of the headline here is to tell the story, the transformation story. Stop doing this, start doing this. Goodbye to the old way, hello to the new way. Stop guessing, start knowing. Like, that's the purpose of the above the fold, like the first thing people see. And like, you don't have to explain everything there, but you do need to capture them with a great headline. I don't know who you're selling to. By the way, the website design is great. I love the video, captivating. I see credibility here with customers. I don't know really what you're selling. I don't know who you're selling it to. I don't know the process, whether you're selling solutions, or these software solutions, or these service solutions, or both. So lots of question marks. And oh my gosh, you have a form. We talked about this. We talked about this earlier. You don't want forms. If you really want to have a conversation, to get in touch, you want people to book a time. If you don't want to talk to people, you don't just have them book a form and just like, we'll get back to you sometime next year. But if you actually want the website to be a means to start the conversation, which is really what I believe a homepage and website needs to be, then take out the form, put a booking page here where they're actually picking Tuesday at 2 o'clock, and then you can capture this information, maybe with a few questions. All right, more I can go on here. So let me go to you. Whose website was this? Cynthia, was this too harsh? Are you good? Are you hiding under the desk? Are you okay? Thanks so much. Okay, awesome. Guys, you guys are awesome. I love you. I want you guys to make the world a better place with your products and services. And if we can help you, please book a call with us and we can discuss how we can do that on working on your messaging and making these shifts, because I want you to be wildly successful this year. I want you to have fun using AI because it is fun, and you're going to be awesome with it. With a little bit of help, you guys are going to break through and get to the next level. So thank you guys so much for staying to the end. I love you. Thumbs up, big hearts for you guys, suffering through some of the technical glitches we had, and keep on rocking in the free world.